She honors her father's legacy by combining her passion for the sciences with her gift of communication and development. Now she's taking her fight worldwide. For the past 6 years, Sarah has worked at the Eck Institute for Global Health, where she continues to combine her personal passion for sciences with her professional work in development and communication. Working closely with the Office of Development and Public Affairs and Communication, she manages special projects and events for the Institute, cultivates and stewards donor and alumni relationships, and continues to raise the Institute's profile within Notre Dame and in the global health field worldwide. She also organizes numerous lectures per year, once again coming full circle, as this work includes the George B. Craig Jr. Memorial Lecture Series. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present this year's Armstrong Award winner to Sarah Craig.
Thank you. This is a dreaded speech because I'm usually the first person to push someone else out in front, Kathy Taylor, who's here, and do some type of public speaking, but I really don't like to do it myself. I'd like to thank the Alumni Association and especially the people who nominated me, Grant Osborne, Karen Pace, Joanne Fahey, who are all here today, as well as Joya Helmuth, who is not. I'd also like to recognize and thank Dolly Duffy for giving me that phone call. And also, I just want to thank Dolly Duffy for doing an incredible job with the Alumni Association over the years. She's had huge shoes to fill, as we know, following Chuck Lennon, but I think you've made those a nice set of high heels. I grew up under the dome. As mentioned, my father was a professor here, but I really didn't want to go here, and thus I went away to Albion College, got married, moved up to the Detroit area, worked there for a while, but really felt, after we had our first child, a calling to come home. And I moved back, got a wonderful job at St. Mary's in the development office and absolutely loved it. But while I was there, entered into school here in the master's program in business and had 2 more children and felt as though I needed to step back. At that time, while I was there was a lot going on, as people who work in development know, Dr. Sexton. There's a lot of travel and commitment involved, and so my father also passed away during that time, and so I stepped back and stayed home with the kids. It lasted about 3 weeks, and I got a great part-time job working as the executive director at Leadership South Bend, Mishawaka, and it was wonderful. I was dedicated to my kids, doing the room mother and all those types of things. I even had Tim Sexton in a class doing the leadership program and enjoyed it thoroughly. But after about 7 years of that, I was just sitting with my mom in the room and said, you know, I need to start thinking about my next career and going back to school. The kids are getting older, and out of the blue, Father Tom called me, Father Tom Streit, and said, well, why don't you come work with me in the Haiti program? It's just getting started. We got a grant from the Gates Foundation, and I could really use your help. So coming to Notre Dame was actually kind of a blessing and a calling. Father Tom was one of my dad's last students, and so we had a lot to talk about over the years. For those who knew my parents, they were incredible advocates for women's issues, health, and global issues on public health and disease control. And so working in his legacy was something that I just thought that I had to do. I have to cut this back because it's way too long. Working in the Haiti program, as was mentioned, we didn't really realize what we were doing at the time and how important it was. And this is what I'd really like to address, is that Dr. Emil Hoffman came to Father Tom and said, you know, I'm at the end of my life and I really want to do something, and I want to dedicate myself to taking my students down to Haiti and having them do medical work with the program. And Father Tom said, you know, that's great, that's wonderful. And in true leadership, he turned to me and he said, you know, I don't want to plan any of this. You have to go do this. You have to recruit everybody. You have to get everybody down there. You have to get everybody on a plane, get their medical licenses and everything. I'll just meet you in Haiti. So I said, you know, I would love to do that. I would love to work with Dr. Hoffman. He's like a second father to me. I've known him my entire life. I kind of was one of the daughters he never had. And so we started a thing called the Emil T. Hoffman Reconnaissance Mission Trips in about 2004. And we got these up and going, and we would bring groups of alumni down, usually in the medical profession or something related. And the prerequisite was you had to go down first before you could do medical care, because you didn't know what you were getting into. You know, you have to be able to do surgery without electricity or lighting or sterilization. And so it was something that we really enjoyed doing. And every couple months we would bring about 7 to 9 alums with us down, and maybe their medical team. And one of the first alums who started the program and helped me work on kind of making it a program that was sustainable and that was doable was Kevin Olnick, class of 78. And Kevin came to me and he said, you know, I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I don't really know much about urology surgeries, which was the surgeries we were doing of people who had lymphatic filariasis. And he said, but I'm a surgeon, I know how to organize, I can do all this. And I said, great. So Kevin and I worked, and we had, I didn't even look up the number, but probably close to 100 people going back and forth, and about 20% of that would return and do surgeries. And when the earthquake hit, it was Kevin and Ralph Panino and a couple other surgeons who all got together and organized themselves while we were still in Haiti in the earthquake to come down. And so when I look back at why we did that, I didn't even know at the time that the very most important person to get down there would have been Kevin, an orthopedic surgeon, who did an amazing job. And what had happened when we got back after the ordeal, and I won't go into the details of the actual earthquake. It is kind of interesting because there were numerous times when I shouldn't really be here. We should have been in a building that collapsed. We just happened to be outside. We had meetings that ended early. There were all kinds of reasons why we shouldn't have been there. But when we did get back and we kind of decided what we were going to do, it was our alums who came and said, I want to help. And we turned this into something that Notre Dame, we said, this isn't our area, this isn't our forte, but we need to do this. And we put our program aside, and we started doing medical mission trips. Every single week for 6 months solid, we had a new team going down. Now, if anybody has ever been on a medical mission trip or organized anything like that, 1 week is a lot, let alone back to back to back. So when we did get back from the earthquake and we contacted the Gates Foundation and we said, we've got to step aside and do this, and we can't continue on our program. They said, go ahead, we'll pay for whatever, just keep going on. So the Gates Foundation was very supportive. The Notre Dame Development Office was very supportive. Lou Nani and Father Jenkins came down, saw everything, did some fundraising for us, and supported the effort, supported the people that we work with. We had about 54 employees in Haiti who were all supported. They didn't have to work. We supported getting their houses back together. That's where the funding and money went. And after about 6 months of this, we decided, we probably need to get back to our program because we're not in recovery anymore, and we need to step away. So just those 6 months of doing mission trips was a lot of work. And we had a lot of help, and it was very positive, and I wouldn't have changed it for the world, but we did lose some people in the earthquake. The hotel that we were at, there were about 300 people there at the time, only about 100 came out. We had, there was all kinds of numbers all over the place on how many people actually did perish in the earthquake, but it was quite an amazing feat. And at the end, after the end of those 6 months, we actually invented, Karen Pace will appreciate this, we invented a thing. If you're into the grants, you understand there's a thing called a no-cost extension, where you can get an extension on a grant because you're not quite finished. But, and it isn't a cost to you, but you have to come up with that money to spread it out. So we actually came up with a term called a no-cost extension with a cost, where the Gates Foundation paid for everything for us to operate for those 6 months. No holds, no questions. $258,000 just to keep that up, and I really appreciate them being able to do that. Then we got back to our work. So I would like to thank some people that are here. There's many more stories I could tell about the earthquake, but that's for another time or another book or something. But I would like to recognize my family who is here. My sister, Patricia, class of 81, architecture 82. My brother-in-law, Pat McGuire. My children, my oldest, Madeline, who is a teacher in the Chicago Public Schools, and my very own SMIC chick. My middle son, Mitchell, and his wife, Camille, who are both in real estate up in the Detroit area, and who drove down, and I appreciate that. And my youngest son, Tyler, who lives here in town. And my significant other, Bill, who actually, Bill's an amazing person. He actually was on his way to Haiti to get me in the earthquake. I'm not sure how he was going to get there, but he was that determined. So I just want to thank the Alumni Association and everyone, friends and family who are here, and as well as those who worked in those 6 months, 2 years, 4 years afterwards, on behalf of the university. And the university just really supported us, and it really was the right thing to do, and I'm glad that we did it.